Hey, it's Erin. Today I wanted to shine a spotlight on a little muscle that, when developed, can lead to big results. And by this, I mean not only aesthetic results by adding some curves, but also some results in core strength and stability, and potentially decreasing knee or back pain if you have those. What mythical muscle am I speaking of? It's the glute medius. And this muscle is located in the upper glutes, and it's responsible for your rotation, it's responsible for abduction of the leg, and it's also responsible for keeping that pelvis stable whenever you're moving or lifting or just in your day-to-day life. And so if you have hip or back or knee pain, a weak glute medius could be what's going on here. And for me, that's exactly what it was. And if you hip thrust hundreds of pounds, doesn't really matter. You can still have a weak glute medius. So I wanted to go through one of the best ways to test if you have a weak glute medius or not. I like to place my hands on my hips just to feel if they are stable and even, and you are going to just simply raise one leg. So you're just going to go up on one foot and you're going to bring your knee up until your upper leg is just about parallel to the floor and hold it. Pay attention to the level of your hip or both hips. If the level changes, so if you're not able to keep your hips level, chances are you have a weak glute medius. And for a lot of people, it can be okay on one side and maybe weak on the other side. And if you have a weaker side, you're just going to treat it like you would a non-dominant side or a smaller side of a muscle that you have. And so you're going to start your exercises on that weak side and let that dictate the number of reps that you're going to do on the strong side. So here are a few exercises that you can incorporate into your routine to strengthen that glute medius and to help stabilize that pelvis, help give you just a stronger core to prevent injury and even limit or eliminate some pain if you're having pain. Of course, I'm not a doctor, so do your own research and ask your doctor if you have pain to see if this might help. Our first exercise is a side plank with an abductor leg lift. One of the great benefits of this exercise is you're also getting a core workout, and you're not only working the leg that's on the top, but you're also working the supporting leg as you're performing this exercise. As a general rule, you're looking for 15 to 20 reps per side here, if possible. Now you want to keep your solid plank position. You are supporting yourself on one arm. That upper arm is perpendicular to the floor. You're keeping a neutral spine, and that shoulder is going to be in line with the hip. It's going to be in line with the knee, in line with the foot. And you are going to raise that working leg, so the top leg, you're going to lift that leg and bring it back down to the starting position and go nice and slow on the negative if possible. And as always, when you switch sides, make sure you're performing the exercise evenly, understanding that if you have one side that's weaker than the other, that weak side that you start with may be a bit more difficult. So just something to keep in mind. Our next exercise is a single leg squat. In studies, the single leg squat was the most effective exercise for really hitting and strengthening that glute medius. Now, the traditional single leg squat is pretty difficult, so use a bench, use a box, use something that you can help to spot yourself. And if you don't feel stable just doing that, you can always hold on to something sturdy as you're performing the exercise. And as you gain strength, then you'll move to just simple body weight single leg squat. You can even add weight if you would like. So for this, you want to make sure that you are close to that box or bench, and that the box or bench is going to allow that upper leg to get to about parallel to the floor. Now, anytime you're performing a squat, you want to pay attention to the knee. So you want your knee to always follow the direction of the toe. So if that toe is pointing forward, which it should be, the knee should be pointing forward as well. So as you descend onto the bench, you're just going to actively kind of push that knee out just a little bit, keeping a tight core, keeping your form. You're going to use that working leg to bring yourself back up to the starting position. Our last exercise is a glute medius leg lift, and this one can be a little bit tricky to master, but I promise it's worth it. What you want to do here is you want to have a plate, something to elevate your foot slightly, as we are actively going to dip the hip on one side. So we're dropping the pelvis on one side, and you can always start with no weight, just do body weight. I start with a small plate and I place it right on my thigh, just above the knee. If you place it close to the knee, just make sure it's on the side and it's on the soft part of the muscle, not resting on the bone. So you're going to hold on to something sturdy, and your working leg is actually the leg that is planted. You are going to get some benefit as you lift your leg up, but keep in mind that that planted leg is the working leg here. So you're going to hold on to something sturdy. I want you to think about leaning forward slightly and using that platform to drop the hip on the leg where you are holding the weight. Once you drop the hip, that's going to give that glute medius a good stretch. So this is what we want in order to help make gains, is that good stretch. And then you're simply going to lift that leg up, kind of similar to an abductor leg lift, but that initial stretch is really key here. And as you switch sides, performing it in front of the mirror can be helpful because you want to maintain that same angle of lean with the upper body, and you really want to make sure that you are dipping that hip before you raise your leg. It's going to make a huge difference, and you can almost break it down into two parts if that's easier. So let me know what you think. Do you do glute medius targeted exercises? If so, let me know which ones your favorite are. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, train smart and train hard, y'all.